a dream so vivid that it felt like it was real?
Oh, yeah.
What about a moment that felt familiar, a little too familiar, like maybe you already lived it?
Not as often, but also yes.
Okay. Well, today we're going to explore the strange, the revealing, the out of body experience of it all. Deja vu, dreams, parallel lives.
Welcome. I'm Elise,
And I'm Jess, and this is Spiritual Alchemy,
the podcast where we explore the intersection of science and spirituality
and how it shapes our everyday lives. Just a warning. We're going to be very meta today. Super meta.
Super meta Jess. Woo woo Elise. Get on the train. Choo choo.
Train's leaving the station.
All aboard.
Let's dive in. So, let's start with deja vu. I think this is a familiar feeling that people have when you feel like, haven't we done this before?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we already talk about this? No, like it's a moment that feels familiar.
Really quickly, though. And I feel like for me personally, when a deja vu moment happens, I have to say it out loud immediately or it's already gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Like, oh, I just had deja vu.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
if say if you're in a situation where you can't say it out loud and then the moment passes you and then you're like driving home later, you're like, I had a deja vu moment, but I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
That happens to me.
Yeah. All I can think of is there's Sleepless in Seattle. Have you ever seen it?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene where like he meets Meg Ryan's character, like sees her for the first time, and then he's explaining it to his friend, and he was like, it was a very weird, like deja vu-ish kind of thing, like feeling that feeling of familiarity, like you've met somebody before, like you've done this action before, been in this place before, or like you kind of have this premonition feeling of what's about to happen because it's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does science, or I would actually ask, does science have an explanation for deja vu?
They do. So neurologically, deja vu is linked to a temporary glitch in the brain's memory system, particularly, I can speak, in the temporal lobe. Some studies suggest it occurs when there's a misfire between short term and long term memory, making new experiences feel familiar. I've also read that it's your synapses. Like, if you actually look at the brain, it looks like little bits of electricity, like just firing through your brain, and synapses, they look like claws. I'm holding my hand like a claw for listeners. And it's like this electricity gets passed in between these claw like things that we call synapses. Some have also said deja vu is your synapses working too quickly, too fast.
Okay. Yeah, there's memory-based theories. So theories that suggest deja vu arises from that temporary glitch. Dual processing theory. Mm-hmm. So that posits that deja vu occurs when two streams of awareness collide. So that's the experience of recognizing a current situation alongside the feeling that it's a false recollection. And then there's neural mechanisms, like you were just saying, synapses and uh, brain activity within different regions, like the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in decision making and attention. Your hippocampus is involved in memory.
Mm-hmm.
And then divided attention. Momentary distraction or a brief obstruction of vision can cause a split perception, where first subconscious perception is followed by a second conscious one, feeling unfamiliar because the initial perception was not fully processed.
Hmm. Yeah, just misfiring of tiny little electrical currents in your brain.
Yeah.
So that's science. Spiritual explanations.
Yeah. We've got reincarnation. So Eastern religions like Hinduism and Buddhism, deja vu is sometimes seen as evidence of past lives, where the current experience triggers a faint memory from a previous existence.
That's so cool to me.
Yeah. So past lives, alternate realities. There are some new age beliefs that interpret the science fiction uh, suggestions that deja vu could be a connection to parallel universes or a quote unquote glitch in the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Cultural interpretations. Some indigenous cultures have their own unique spiritual explanations for deja vu, but Western culture is associated with paranormal or mystical experiences as well.
Mm-hmm. So kind of like a soul memory moment, or I like to think of it if you have deja vu with somebody. Let's take this explanation and spiral for a second. Perhaps it's your soul recognizing another karmic connection, and maybe you've already had this kind of discussion or clash in a
Mm,
past life or in an alternate universe, in a parallel universe. We've talked about karmic connections on the podcast, and how cool would it be to think, hey, this deja vu moment is actually our souls just doing this song and dance again, having the same conversation. So could it be confirmation or proof that we are in sync with a higher plan? Because if you do believe in karmic connections, wouldn't you want to run into your soul contracts? Wouldn't you want to have those? Get it done. Give me all the deja vu moments.
I think yes, but I think a deja vu moment in a karmic connection kind of way can also be, oh shit, we're doing this again.
Or that.
Oh no, we're here to learn this lesson again. We didn't do it last time. Why does this feel so familiar? Because it's a repeating pattern. Because we got
Mm.
to learn it again. And that's just my interpretation of it. But yeah, deja
So,
vu.
deja vu.
What is a deja vu moment that you remember or like that was really stuck out to you in life?
Well, to segue into dreams, because where we're going
Mm.
next, I can tell you there what it was. It's not really deja vu. I don't even know. Let me tell you the story, and then you can discern for yourself.
There you go.
My grandfather comes to me in my dreams. I lucid dream. We'll get into that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I am asleep, I know I'm asleep, and I'm very in control of what's going on.
Mm.
And whenever I see my grandfather in my sleep, and he passed away in 2010, he doesn't come around that often. Every time I see him, I look at him and I go, "What are you doing here? Shouldn't be here." And he was a smoker, so I can usually smell smoke. He always wore these like cute little hats. And I remember seeing a woman with the back of her head, and she looked familiar, but I never like asked her to turn around. The next day, I don't talk about my dreams, don't remember them very often. My mom said to me, "Your grandmother had a very disturbing dream last night." I go, "What happened?" She goes, "Your grandmother saw your grandfather in her dream." And I was like, "I saw a woman in my dream, but she never turned around. Can she tell you what Dappa was wearing?" And she's like, "He was wearing his hat and he was smoking." And I go, "Were we in each other's dreams?"
That's so
Isn't that
crazy.
crazy? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a deja vu moment, more dreamscape. But like I said, it was such a serendipitous moment for me because I don't talk about my dreams. I keep a dream journal. They're very much for me. And it's
Mm.
very out of character for my mom to just randomly be like, "Oh, I'm with your grandmother. She's very upset. She had a bad dream last night." And for
Yeah.
then me to be like, "Well, what was it about?" And
Yeah.
then to find out almost instantly, because had she said that a couple days later, I probably wouldn't have even remembered that dream or even remembered that I wrote it down. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it was a very strange timeline of everything kind of lined up for me to be like, I lucid dream.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
me
in other
too.
people's dreams.
Well, I actually, to build on this, there is a spirit, and we are really segueing into dreams with this, but there's spiritually a spiritual theory, meta theory, that if someone appears in your dream, it's because they were thinking about you right before you went to sleep, or right before they went to sleep.
Mm.
So they like appear to you in the astral realm. And same vice versa. Like you can show up in other people's dreams if you're thinking about them. Don't misuse that if you're a spiritual friend. But yeah, it's like we show up in people's dreams when we're like thinking about them kind of theory.
Mm. So that kind of a deja vu, because I can't think of a deja vu moment right
Yeah.
now. But what about you?
A deja vu moment, I think what's sticking out in my head is the first time I went to Ireland. Um, I,
You sparked a memory. Tell your story.
yeah, I know for you, Florence was really,
I think I've already shared that story. Yeah, when I went to
yeah,
Florence, that's what sparked it. That I was walking and I
every,
never got lost in Florence. And I was like,
yeah,
how is this possible? A city I've never been to in my life.
well,
And I'm not lost.
yeah. And it wasn't even that I was like just tromping around Ireland. My best friend who lives there was my guide, and she was taking me all these places, and I was like, I don't know, like my heart, like it just something really resonated with me. And it wasn't even like a memory, it was just more like a feel like my soul's been here before. And I
Mm-hmm.
know I've had small moments too with people where I'm like, whoa, why do I feel like I've already done this in day-to-day life? But that was like the first time that like a place really just hit me in my soul. And it was a very magical experience.
It can be. I will say, I've had a thought listening to your story. Since I've moved to the West Coast, I've had less deja vu moments.
Mm. Why do you think that is?
Perhaps my soul has never lived on the West Coast.
Mm.
Um, Maybe deja vu is linked with hyperactivity in the brain. I've worked really hard to slow my life down since moving to the West Coast. Even as busy as I am, I do really try to live presently. I told Jess when we were just building our friendship that something that I try to do in day to day, I might have shared it here, is when I make a decision, I try to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to let my brain go, well, what if I had gone left? What if I had been that way? Because I do believe in fracturing particles in the matrix. If you don't make a concrete decision, there are fractals of you that have made that decision. Maybe you were walking in the park and you were indecisive if you should do another lap. If you're not concrete in when you're going to stop, there is a you in some other timeline that is continuing to walk around the path.
And that does get into like quantum mechanics and quantum physics and quantum theory, that there are multiple timelines. And it's kind of also tying back to what we say is like free will.
Mm-hmm.
It integrates into that, like free will and fate. It's like you can make all these decisions, but eventually your soul's coming back together. So there's a quantum uh, part to this that we didn't talk about, which is the theory of timelines rejoining and parallel lives. So we'll get there uh, a little bit later, but let's jump there now.
Why not?
Why not? So there's multiverse theory, which it's based in quantum physics, and it's the idea that like what you said, if you took there's a version of you that took that extra lap walking your dog around the park, and when those two split souls or split versions of yourself reunite, that's when deja vu occurs.
Yeah. So that's I mean, to me, that's such a fun part of deja vu, if that's what you want to believe. It's like, ooh, all of me has come back together.
Yeah.
So me saying I don't get deja vu a lot being on the West Coast, maybe there's a ton of versions of me out there somewhere waiting to come together,
Yeah.
which is also exciting.
Yeah. I don't think I've experienced deja vu in a hot minute.
Yeah.
And when I say deja vu, I'm really talking about those little moments. I
They
mean,
can,
like,
yeah, they really slap you across the face and you're like,
yeah,
whoa.
I think the deja vu of past lives, like those memories of past lives, are a little bit less like shocking and a little bit more just like looking through a telescope and being like, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, I think my last deja vu that I can really remember was I went back home to Buffalo to watch the eclipse on August 8th of 2024. And there was this the whole time, and I was not even supposed to be there. Like I made the decision to be there at like the last minute because I was like, the eclipse is going over my hometown. Like I have to see it. Or the whole day felt weird, where I was like, I'm watching a solar eclipse in my hometown. I wasn't even supposed to be here. One of my best friends drove across the state to see it. Like it was the whole day was crazy. And then, illuminated literally by the sun getting blacked out by the moon. I mean, it is, if you've never seen a solar eclipse, do it at some point in your life. It is the most crazy phenomenon you will ever experience in your life. For night turns to day for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about deja vu.
Day turns to night.
Day turn. Topsy-turvy.
Topsy-turvy. So the multiverse theory in physics posits the existence of multiple universes, potentially an infinite number. So these are parallel to our own, and they each have their own set of physical laws and constants. In quantum physics, this is linked with the many worlds interpretation, where every quantum measurement causes the universe to split into different branches that represent a different outcome.
And they're each as real as the life we are living now. And that's Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation.
Spiritually, this is interpreted as the representation of interconnectedness, where all possibilities exist simultaneously and our consciousness plays a role in shaping our reality.
I mean, it's something that I have just started to scratch the surface in practice, and I think you are as well, that we are the creators of our own reality and our own existence. And an example of it is the other day, I'm a freelancer, money's a little tight this month. I was sitting doing my finances, looking at my schedule, and I kind of threw up my hands and I was like, you could give me anything just to make me a little more comfy this month. And not even an hour later, I got an email being like, hey, can you do these gigs? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? And it was because I've worked so hard to release my grip on expectations. But you want to talk about multiple universes and multiple yous, anything is possible. You just have to figure out how to grab it at the right time.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because I'm very much really figuring out this let go and it'll come to you, because it's all about like the balance of trust in the universe, trust in yourself, and like I can use another financial example. I recently left a salaried job. Now I'm hourly. So like when I take a trip, like I just went away for a couple weeks, and I was like, well, not going to be working. I'm going to figure out how I got to make some money while I'm gone. And I had some things lined up and they fell through. And I kind of was like, it'll be fine. I trust that it'll be okay. And the money came to me. I like a couple, kind of like you said, the same thing. Like a couple gigs arose before I left. And I was like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't even need to worry about it. And it's applying that idea to a lot of things. The tighter you hold on, the more it's going to try and get away. I like to think of calling things in like magnets. What is it? 2 negatives don't make a positive, and 2 positives don't make a negative. It's a negative and a positive. So it's a release to attract.
I love that. Yeah, it's who knows? I like to think every version of me out there is looking out for me, because that is true.
Yeah. And I like the idea too that like when you're calling something in, there is a version of you that already has it. It is already yours. You're just calling it into this reality. And that's very meta. But that is how manifestation works.
Yeah, will lead to another episode, but perhaps if you can, understand your deja vu moments or
align with your parallel lives.
that's how you actually manifest. And all those people trying to sell you courses, that's all this is.
Yeah.
Just figure out your pattern.
We've summed it up in a 5 minute interlude. All you need to do is align with your parallel lives. It's already yours.
It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So spiritual viewing, we kind of already talked about it, but what about the Akashic records?
Because
you've talked about it a little bit, but let's go back and revisit the idea of Akashic records as far as deja vu, parallel lives.
Yeah. So the Akashic records is the etheric library containing every soul's history across all lifetimes and timelines. So that is past, present, and future. It is, the way I describe the Akashic is everything that has ever happened and ever will happen recorded. Like it's the knowledge of the universe in totality.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of soul fractals suggests that your higher self may exist in many expressions at once, scattered across dimensions, learning different lessons.
I mean, it's those choices that you're pulled to make, and just understanding that whatever path you choose to walk, you gotta choose it 100%.
Yeah. So the thing about the Akashic is there are ways to tap into it to learn about these parallel lives. I've not done it myself, so I can't offer any wisdom on it. But it's a cool concept. Did you have something you specifically wanted to share about Akashic records?
I mean, I feel like I have gotten grounded enough in my meditative practice where like I know where I need to go to tap in. But I will be very honest, it's kind of a fear. It's like visually, if I were to explain what happens, I meditate, I feel really tuned out, some either like some frequencies on or like white noise, like I can't be distracted by the world. And I picture like this white light coming that I tap into above me, and then like it slowly but surely like connects to me, and I get really warm and like really happy and like will maybe cry or like laugh, and like and then I just go back to neutral and I feel so connected. But then I get scared. I get scared to look. And I don't know what that is.
So that's your ego. Because I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. It might have been you. The ego does not want us to transcend, because when the ego dies, and we experience many, many ego deaths through life,
Mm-hmm.
but when the ego dies and we transcend, I mean, the ego limits us. The ego keeps us in a safe space. And the ego is tied to the physical body. The soul is not. If your soul realized that it didn't need its physical body to be its best self, what would happen to the physical body?
It would become irrelevant.
Yeah. And same with the ego. Ego will become irrelevant. Because when we leave our bodies, we leave our ego as well.
Yeah.
Ego doesn't come with us. So
it's not to say that I'm ever going to stop trying, because like I said, I keep going, and I painted a picture for listeners in hopes that maybe that inspires you on what you can envision when you go into meditation, like what you can do.
mm-hmm.
But I will fully admit, I always get to that point and I get scared and I pull out.
Yep. You're battling your ego constantly. And this is what I was experiencing yesterday. It was like my ego was working double time to try and distract me from working on some certain things that I was trying to work on, that I'm like, me working on these things is helping me build a better life. That's going to help me level up my entire life. And I need to be doing this work. And ego's like, well, what about this fun thing? What about this? What about your friends want to hang out with you? Well, go hang out with your friends. Your family wants to call you. Talk to your family. Oh, another friend group. You won't hang out with that friend group? Hang out with this friend group. And it was like this constant like trying to distract. And I was like, I'm trying to focus. Like, everybody leave me alone. but it's like those moments of you fight or flight. And it's you can either fight your ego and say, you stop it right now.
I'm going
Or
into the light. No.
I'm going in the light and you're not gonna like it, but you're gonna take it. And you're coming with me. Or you can say, "No, I don't okay, we'll stay here.
Yeah.
Like, I'll stay with you, ego, it's fine." And it comes up in a lot of ways. And maybe it's time to ask yourself, what about leveling up are you scared of?
Well, it's so funny because it's literally I haven't even shared this with Jess. So last I'm in a show and I've been doing pulling tarot backstage, which is not my forte. This is Jess's forte, and I've learned from you. And I read between the past 2 nights like 6 people's tarot. You know, I got my little booklet. I'm checking everything. I'm telling the story the way that you've kind of mentored me on, and everybody has been like, "This is spot on," and I'm like, and these are just castmates that I only know from like a colleague,
Yeah.
working standpoint. I don't really know them to many depths. And they challenged me. There was a few that like gave me nothing until I got all the way to the end, and I've got like 20 cards down. I'm like, is
Mm.
any of this? And then we get all the way to the end there, and then they tell me, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, I was spot on. So I think there's a fear that this innate wisdom and power comes to me so easily. And I think there's this fear like, what would I have to let go of to really step into that? Like, maybe
Yeah.
I have this innate power to read the Akashic records.
Yeah.
So what the fuck am I waiting for? I don't
Yeah.
know. It's the ego.
Sometimes knowledge can be scary.
Mm.
It's kind of the same thing. Why don't we know about aliens? Why don't we know about, like, why are certain things kept secret from the collective?
Because it's scary.
Because it's scary. And fear is very powerful. It is very low vibrational. And if fear overtakes, it's also why we might see in certain political areas people using fear to control,
Mm-hmm.
to create chaos, to create fear and invoke fear, so that there is more fear because it's easier to control people when they're at a low vibration. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. So
So,
we're look at us in sync. So
so
I
yeah.
want to go back to how dreams may act as portals to other timelines or parallel lives or subconscious realms.
Oh, well, I'm going to go super super meta
Great.
because I have always had very very intense dreams. And I my dreams, when I talk about them to people, are not always like other people's dreams. They're not like giraffe driving a car on down in the desert singing Frank Sinatra. Like it's it's not like goofy things like weird images or like replaying things from my day. It's very like I feel like I go places and I wake up tired a lot of the time because I feel like I'm doing so much in my sleep. And I experience lucid dreams. I experience and I would say like lucid dreaming and meditation kind of go hand in hand for me. Like I like when I'm meditating can kind of like go in and out of, like, it's not like I'm asleep, but I'm having like visualization. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I'm asleep, I
You're busy.
I am astral projecting for sure.
You're busy.
I'm going places. I'm doing work. I'm healing things in my sleep. And you can, on a spiritual level, do healing work, do your spiritual work in the astral realm. If something is too hard to face on the physical plane, you will do the work in the spiritual
Huh.
plane.
I love that how you just phrased that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hmm. So science research into lucid dreaming and REM sleep shows how active the brain is during dream states, sometimes mimicking waking consciousness. So you will be asleep
And awake.
and awake, says your brain.
Yeah.
But like visually, when you're being like tested, you're asleep. So, the phenomenon of lucid dreaming, where one becomes aware and in control of their dream, has been studied at Stanford and Harvard, showing that brain waves during lucidity resemble conscious thought.
Oh
So,
yeah.
it's pretty much science just backed up what you said, that you can deal with something maybe that you don't want to think about when you're awake when you're asleep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wild.
And then there's also this idea of dream incubation, where we set intentions before sleep to visit other aspects of self. So kind of what you said about like when you think about somebody before you fall asleep or
Yeah.
vice versa. Those science right now doesn't confirm dreams as dimensional portals. Many believe the subconscious is not bound by time and space.
Yeah.
Um,
For science to say that?
yeah, that's crazy. And it's so funny because I think it was last week. I'm not even kidding you. I wake up the next morning and I had the wackiest dream. I had gone so many places. And like I said, I keep a dream journal.
Yeah.
But I woke up and I usually have to write it down right away or I don't remember. But I woke up and I go, I'm not even going to write that down because I went so many places. I saw so many people. I'm like, I'm not even going to bother writing it down. 5 people text me that day. You were in my dream last night. And I was like, bitch, can you just stay close to your body? No wonder you're
Yeah.
so tired after getting 8.5 hours of sleep. You were in everybody else's dreams last night
Oh yeah.
doing other work. I'm like, bitch, stay in your body.
Yeah. That's happened to me a few times too.
Where you get like 9 hours of sleep and you're like, oh, I feel like I slept 5 minutes.
Yeah. That and the people reaching out being like, "Oh, I had a dream about you the other day," or like,
You're like, can you not?
yeah. I'm like, "Please stop calling me to you." I'm like, "That's not cool."
And we're talking about people like not even here in Los Angeles, like across the country.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I went far.
Yeah. And it was I this is a fun share. So there was also a time, and it still does happen occasionally, where my dreams are like premonitions.
I've never had one of those.
Okay, so let me describe this to you. My cousin was coming out to visit me. This is one I remember so specifically because it was so spot on. My cousin was coming out to LA to visit. He'd never been here before. We planned to take a trip up to Yosemite. So we're both outdoorsy hiking types. And we planned this trip to Yosemite. And like, this was planned like months before. And like a week before he came out to visit, I had this dream that we were in Yosemite running around, like looking at the trees, and there was this thick smoke clouding everything. And I was like, that's so weird. And it was like just this image of us like happily running through the trees, but like thick layer of smoke.
Huh.
And I remember telling him, I was like, we couldn't see anything. There was a forest fire north of the park that was blowing smoke into the valley. So when we got there, the
No
valley
way.
was filled with smoke and we could not see anything. And the first day that we went to the Mariposa Sequoia Grove and we ran around looking at the trees, but we couldn't see anything. We got to all these vistas and we'd look out and it was a white thing of smoke.
Oh my God. What?
It was like, I was like, oh my God, did I just predict this? And there's been other dreams that I've had too where like I will tell somebody about the dream because it's so clear. Like that dream, I still remember the dream
Yeah.
because it was that crystal clear.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even write it down or anything, other than to like text him and be like, I had this weird dream, haha. And then we got there and we were both like, what? So, yeah, sometimes I have dreams that are premonitions.
That is a beautiful gift if that is how you choose to look at
I
it.
choose to look at it like that. I think most times they're happy premonitions or just like interesting ones. Like I think it's a gift. Again, super meta Jess.
Mm-hmm.
It is a gift that does not overwhelm me. It's not like I'm having like doomsday dreams and
Yeah.
it's like little things, but they do become true.
So in a spiritual view, in spiritual traditions, dreams are seen as vehicles for soul travel, also known as astral projection, or communication with other versions of the self. Tibetan Buddhism treats dream yoga as a serious spiritual practice, training practitioners to awaken within dreams and explore other realms. In my bonus life, I will go learn how to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, what if dreams that you're having aren't just your imagination, but windows into who you are, who else you've been, or what you could become? Like, perhaps you were able to tap into future you
Mm.
and saw the
What was going
smoke.
to happen?
Mm-hmm.
I do think about this a lot because I also I do feel like my theory on the spiritual side of dreaming is that your higher self is like, all right, let's have a staff meeting. You can learn lessons in your dreams. Your subconscious can heal things while you're asleep. I've done it. There have been certain things, like certain shadows, that I've had dreams that were kind of like centered around that. And it might be something where I'm like, I wake up and I was like, oh my God, I remember like fighting something. I remember like really doing some work in
Mm-hmm.
that last dream. And even my voice is getting like so deep right now. But it's like connection to your higher self, and your higher self giving you guidance to where you need to be going.
Right. And we're talking about this and we're trying to understand it from a point of view where we live in a culture. We wake up, we go to sleep. Our concept of time is linear
Yeah.
and in our conscious state. But indigenous cultures, including the Hopi and Mayan cultures, describe time as circular
Yeah.
and ceremonial rather than linear.
Mm-hmm.
In Hindu cosmology, time is measured in vast cycles called yugas, where civilizations rise and fall in repeating spiritual epochs. Like, you can look at some of the most indigenous, oldest cultures in this world who I think really looked to the stars and patterns and time differently, and they see it as circular. So I just keep thinking about your dream. I'm like, part of me, I think you went to your future self.
Yeah. I think I've done it many times. Like
Yeah.
I don't like that is just one very like easy instance to like uh for me to recollect and also to like share, but it could be that. I think that it's really the beautiful thing about dreams. It's kind of like similar to what happens to us when we go.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never know because I'm sorry, I can't physically, like my conscious self cannot go into your subconscious dream.
Yeah.
There is no way to break into somebody's subconscious, which I also think is a beautiful thing where it's like while you're tied here, yes, you're as above, so below,
As within.
as within, without, but I can't access that on my conscious plane. While I may be able to visit you in the subconscious, I may be able to astral project to you. Maybe. Like our subconsciouses may come together in a higher plane of
Mm-hmm.
existence. They're probably there together right now. But consciously, like there's no way for us on this earthly plane to know what's going on in dreams, to measure, and it's like it's just one of those beautiful mysteries.
I think, I believe I read, I'll have to go fact check myself, that Japanese scientists are working on a contraption that will map and project what people are seeing
Hmm.
when they sleep. And then in doing so, they'll also be able to record it.
Cool.
But this was like something that I read on some Reddit thread. So we'll research that before you put that
Yeah.
in. But how
Actually,
cool if they are able to do that,
yeah.
because then we would be able to actually study it, and psychologists could look at that and be like,
Mm.
this is all nonsense, or this is a callback to your past self.
You know what I also just thought of? Did you ever watch Twin Peaks?
I believe I have. I'm very bad with
It's
movie titles.
it's a show.
Nope.
So, okay. So, Twin Peaks is a show from the 90s, and it is I love to describe it as like just the most insane fever dream of a show. But in one episode, they do a dream, and it is the most, I would say it's like the closest visual representation of being in your dream,
Mm.
where the main character, and if I'm remembering it correctly, everybody's talking backwards. So like he can't understand what they're saying. They're telling him what things that are going to happen. He's having a premonition dream, and they're telling him what's happening, but he can't hear what they're saying because they're talking like their words are backwards.
Oh, that's
Isn't
wild.
that crazy? And then the other part of it too is that he keeps going through like the same loop and walking in through these same scenarios and having these different visuals happen. And it's an insane and very intense episode. It is a great show, by the way. Little insane, a little intense, but it's also a very like cult classic show. One of my favorites. But that episode, I think, really kind of captured the astral, but like everything's just a little off.
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting messages. And then when it all comes full circle, it's like, oh, that's what that was.
Well, modern theoretical physics hints that time may not be as linear as we perceive. The theory of relativity already shows that time is relative, not fixed. And some physicists theorize that the past, present, and future could all be coexisting at the same time.
Yeah.
The spiritual view of this is mystics and psychedelic explorers often describe experiences where all time seems to collapse. Past lives, future insights, and alternate selves appearing simultaneously. I mean, most of my family knows this. There's not a hiding from anybody. I have taken a hero's journey shroom trip, and it was like, I think it was only about a 5.5 hour experience. It was like I lived 20 lives in that amount of time. I was happy go lucky, dancing with my friends. I was violently ill. I was sobbing hysterically. And I was in awe of the beauty of the trees and the stars. Like, you name it, I went through it. And I remember I had set a timer, and I was so tired when I finally, detoxed my body and the shrooms were out of my body. But I was like, that was only 5.5 hours. I was like, this could have been days.
Yeah.
And, shrooms are poison for your body. So do what you need healthily. But how beautiful that nature gives us something that can alter time and our perception of time and what that does to what we experience and what we feel physically, mentally, spiritually. I mean, it is wild.
Yeah.
It's the only thing consciously that I've experienced. I mean, let's take alcohol for a second.
Yeah.
Alcohol also makes time go by weird.
I mean, that's the thing is like spiritually, alcohol lowers your vibration. So that's why like anxiety, hangovers, like certain alcohols are uppers, like tequila, but all the rest of them are depressants.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, like you said, it's poison to your body, but it doesn't, I would say alcohol doesn't raise your vibration. It does not put you on a higher plane of existence, but there's arguments that microdosing shrooms can help raise your consciousness and raise your awareness because of what it does to your brain chemically. And I mean, they are studying using it for microdosing for a cure or a fix for ADHD, um, depression,
anxiety, panic disorders. I mean, I hope and pray in our lifetime we see a way for plant medicine to be used in mainstream culture, because I'm like, nature has the answer. It's, it's in these plants. It's plant medicine. It's
Yeah.
beautiful to me.
Yeah.
It can be dangerous, just like eating like a wild mushroom could poison you and kill you.
Yeah.
It is dangerous, so you want to make sure, check everything, be with the right people, but in the same way that you wouldn't over indulge in alcohol in the wrong company as well.
Yeah.
It's be an adult, be responsible.
Yeah.
uh so what happens to our understanding of purpose or destiny if time isn't a line but a loop or a spiral?
Yeah. I like to think of it as a loop because I think it's again that idea of like everything's happening all at once and your past, present, and future selves are all existent on the same plane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm. That I haven't seen.
Crazy movie.
Yeah.
That's a wild trip.
Mm.
I've seen that movie so many times. I still don't know what's going on half the time.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
You know what is happening? Everything everywhere all at once, apparently. It's in the title.
If deja vu is us colliding with karmic connections or alternate versions of ourselves, if dreamscapes are us living out different scenarios in different ways, confronting ourselves, can we tap into these alternate versions of ourselves? And then how, if we can?
So, quantum jumping, timeline shifting. I think it's a very like popular TikTok, Instagram, like it's a very viral idea right now, like timeline shifts. Think Mandela effects. Think like you love the Schumann resonance, like shifts in the timeline where I think collective energy feels like something shifted last night, like something's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even things as simple as like I've had this jewelry stand in my like on my dresser and it's a tree that holds all my necklaces and it's always just been like a plain gold tree. And this one morning I woke up and I'm looking at it as I'm putting on like a necklace and I was like, has this always been carved with like grooves and ridges? I don't think so. And sure enough, I like had a photo of it and I went back and I was like, what happened? Like, what is that? But it's those weird little shifts that you're like, has that always been like that? Has that tree always been right there?
It's hard to put into words. It's a more tangible example would be, okay, I had this huge contract at the beginning of this year. I backed into a pole literally 2 hours before downbeat of this role where I was singing the lead. And that would upset anybody. I own my car. I'm like, this I don't own many things. I'm like, God damn it. Like, this is the one nice thing I have. And because of my practice, I was like, I have a choice right now. I can either spiral and let this thought of me messing up the bumper of my car consume me and let it affect my performance of something I have worked weeks to perfect and be so present in, or I can reset.
Yeah.
And I went and I found a tree and I sat down by the tree and I did breath work and I meditated for 15 minutes. And I swear to you, I was like a new person when I stood up 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
So that's actually a tangible example of like what these somatic breath work and meditation can do for your body. It just allows you to tap into a frequency that's already there or tap down, because backing into a pole with my car really brought me down to a low frequency, and I had a choice at that moment. I'm like, I can either stay down here or I can get back up to where I know I need to be to do a good performance today.
Yeah. I mean, this is why daily meditation is so important to me and why, I mean, we've had this conversation where I personally, in my journey right now, I feel very removed from like, not like the collective, but everybody else's energy. And it's the way I would describe it is that I feel like everybody's, I'm at the aquarium and everybody's in the fish tank doing their fishy thing. And I'm just kind of on the other side of the glass. I'm observing, I'm seeing what's happening. And occasionally the fish try to come into the glass to come see me, and I'm like, what are
I'm
you doing?
good.
What you doing? I'm good. So it's been interesting where I feel like I've gotten into this practice of, yes, I'm an empath, but I'm really setting this hard boundary of not taking on other people's shit, for
Hmm.
lack of a better word. You can be in this body, but not of this body. You
Ooh.
are in this world, but you are not of this world. And it's that reminder of, and this was a very woo woo therapist that I was with, which aligns with me, but it was this idea that I am here having my human experience, but I am also a spiritual being that is connected to a higher existence and a higher state of consciousness. And I need to remember that while I can be here and be in this body, I am also up there. And there is a balance to not, I think I had to really learn this where, and this was more when I was having a lot more premonition dreams. I was so into my woo woo, like so into my spirituality, but I also wasn't engaging in life.
Mm.
I was so into my practice that I was like, I can only be around other people who are of this like mindset. I can only be, and my circle was so small, which was fine, but I was like, I'm working so hard on myself, and I'm breaking all of these limiting beliefs, and I was so deep in the work, and I was so up here in
That
the above.
you weren't in your body.
I was not in my body, and it wasn't in, I wasn't enjoying the human experience.
Mm.
I was too head in the clouds to really be present and actually live.
Yeah.
And that was a big lesson for me, was learning the balance of like, and I, this is the best way that I describe it, and I've said it to you. I am this. I am what we're doing here. I am a spiritual like person. I practice all of this. I believe all of this. Everything that we talk about here, this is like where I'm at in my core beliefs, and day to day I am that spiritual friend and spiritual best, your spiritual bestie, but I'm also a gremlin, and I have some gremlin energy still, and I just, it's like I I find that there's that other side of myself that I'm like, and I'm here to have some fucking fun.
Yeah.
I'm here to have a good time and learn my shit. And sometimes when I'm having fun, I have I get more shit I have to learn, but that's great. I think it's all about balance.
Yeah, I keep thinking my brother and I call ourselves professional bob and weavers
Yeah.
because people gonna be throwing punch. That's life. Life's gonna be throwing punches, and you're gonna bob and you're gonna weave, and you know what? You're gonna get hit sometimes, but that doesn't mean that you do not partake in the bobbing and weaving.
Yeah.
And you can come to the sideline for a second and be like, I need a break, but you just got to get really good at bobbing and weaving, and you
Mm-hmm.
got to know, hey, I'm gonna get hit. I hope I get hit in the shoulder and not in the fucking face, but
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
it's like it's living your life consciously,
mm-hmm.
being aware of your patterns, allowing, I mean, let's talk about like tie it into parallel lives and tie it into deja vu. Where did you learn those karmic lessons from before, and what is your parallel life doing? They're having a human experience. You
Mm-hmm.
had a human experience. If you believe in past lives, you've had many.
Right.
And how do you stay aware of, I'm here to learn some shit and heal these karmic patterns, but I'm also here to be present in this life and experience the world at this time, because I chose to come back here during this time at this place in the world.
You just live presently.
Yeah.
You constantly live presently. It's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So neuroscience, doubles down on the idea of tapping into alternate versions of yourself, that it has been proven that people who visualize or write down their goals rewire their neural pathways and are like, it's something like 10 times more likely for it to happen. Like people who become millionaires will pull out their journals from like 20 years before and be like, this is me writing, I'm going to be a millionaire, or I am a millionaire every single day for
Mm-hmm.
like a year.
Mm-hmm.
So when the brain rehearses a new scenario, for example, it's like maybe you want to be on stage, maybe in the gym you want to be able to lift whatever your weight goal is someday, or whatever it is, living your best timeline, meeting your partner, having a family. When you rehearse it in your brain, it starts treating it like muscle memory, right? So I'm a pianist, and when I practice something that I want to memorize, or when I sing something I want to not look at music or words for, it becomes muscle memory. And you can do the exact same thing with your brain, but you have to rehearse it
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. And this shift makes it feel more real rather than just hypothetical.
And you can kind of tell too when you're visualizing something, when the shift really clicks. And that's kind of what I was saying before about like being able to learn how to call things in
Mm-hmm.
easily, is like you get to this shift where it's like, I see it, I see it, I see it, I see it. Now it's just, it's there. And you feel that like click.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like to keep things close to my heart, but I am manifesting something pretty big right now. And as of recently, what has been happening to me is other people have been saying it to me. I
Mm,
could really see you as, and I was like, good.
good.
Because, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm also seeing for myself too. But it's been so cool to like be manifesting that. And then other people are starting to say it. And I'm like, oh, this is inevitable.
Yeah.
This is going to happen someday.
Yeah.
But it takes so much practice and rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
Train your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, to wrap it up, the connection between deja vu, soul contracts, past and future lives, soul contracts, and deja vu. One more time for the people, because I mean, it is so hard to understand what is happening in deja vu. We create soul contracts before birth, agreements that we're meant to meet other souls at specific moments and teach each other lessons. So perhaps that familiar jolt of deja vu, like we said, it's just the soul contracts kicking in, and you're standing at the fork in the road between timelines. Past life patterns. We've already said this. Akashic records.
Yeah.
And I don't think I want to talk about scientific. I don't want to talk about the children recalling past lives.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's a whole that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. So great. So to wrap it up, in the very meta sense of the word, deja vu, parallel lives, dreams are all kind of connected to this state of higher consciousness and awareness that past, present, and future are all happening at once. And the universe truly is infinite because your soul can be anywhere and everywhere
All at once.
all at once. Look at that. What journal prompts do we have this week, Elise?
Have you ever experienced deja vu that felt more like coincidence? Pinpoint it. What do you think it was pointing you toward or reminding you of? 2, was there a dream that you felt like came from another life, timeline, or version of you? As soon as you remember it, write out the details. Also, try and delineate the message that you were trying to give you. Think of it like that. You were trying to give you a message. And then my favorite, if you could tap into the version of yourself, the most aligned version of you, what would it look like? Name the choices, the habits, the beliefs you would carry, and start to rewire your brain.
Very cool stuff. We'll see you in our dreams.
Thanks for joining us today. We're so glad you were here. For more information on our episodes and to connect with us on social media, follow us at Spiritual Alchemy Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Stay golden.